Well, hello again. I'd like to speak with you today about the contemplative spiritual discipline of spiritual direction. I'd like to begin by reading from the epilogue of Cloud Devotion. The epilogue is called God's Way of Friendship. Throughout the cloud of unknowing, the anonymous author writes as a friend of God to one other person who is called a friend of God. The other person was likely a younger monk under the spiritual direction of the author. Spiritual mentoring or spiritual direction was a normal practice in monasteries in the 14th century, as it's the normal practice in monasteries today. And one of the most common expressions found throughout the cloud of unknowing is the author's way of addressing us readers as friend of God. In the spiritual life, what a comfort it is to be called a friend of God. Jesus assures us with some of his final words before he went to the cross. Here's what he said in John 15:15. I no longer call you servants because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything I learned from my Father I have made known to you. Well, the spiritual discipline of spiritual direction uh, calls us into an intentional life transforming journey with at least one other person who loves God and who seeks to listen to God's Holy Spirit at work within our lives. In this particular podcast, I'd like to look at pictures of spiritual direction from Gregory's Pastoral Care. And by the way, you can find this on a recent blog post at waterpaths.org, and you go to Cannon Beach Log under the blog tab, and you'll find this particular blog post. Spiritual direction is God's Holy Spirit at work within our life, but it can also be taught and learned. It's a spiritual discipline that is developed intentionally through guidance and accountability. It most often occurs in the ordinary settings of our lives with people we already know and trust. I love the painting that's on the cover of this particular podcast. It's a painting by P.S. Croyer. The painting is called Summer Evening on Skayans Beach, and it was painted in 1893. It's a painting of Anna Anker and Maria Croyer. They're walking together, they're friends, and they're walking along the South Beach in Skagen, Denmark, which is the northerlymost city in Denmark. It's a fishing village. And from 1893, and it's one of Denmark's most loved Impressionist paintings by one of Denmark's most famous painters. It depicts Croyer's wife Marie walking together with her close friend Anna along the beach in the evening. I love that picture of spiritual direction as two people walking along and discovering more of the beauty of God as they journey. In a book I wrote called Soul Mentoring: Discover the Ancient Art of Caring for Others, that was published in 2015 by Cascade Books. I had that painting featured on the cover. And that book is based upon St. Gregory's classic book, Pastoral Care, which was written back in 591. During his first year, he became Pope. Gregory shows so many beautiful pictures of spiritual direction, images. All these are coming up. These next list of 11 images are from part one of Gregory's Pastoral Care. And I'd ask you, which of these pictures speak most clearly to your desire for being spiritually cared for by another person? Or which of these best describes some of the way that you've cared for someone else? And which one of these attracts you and makes you desire to learn more about the ancient contemplative spiritual discipline of spiritual direction? So here's image one. Imagine an artist in an art studio where we learn to practice what Gregory calls the art of arts. If spiritual direction is the art of arts, as Gregory writes, consider apprenticing your life to a master artist of the soul, someone who's able to guide you with vision and creativity along your journey into mentoring. A second picture is of a medical clinic where we together seek Christ to heal us and make us healthy. If spiritual direction is healing practice, where we get healthy, who is currently helping you become healthy in your inner life? Another image is that of a master apprentice. Jesus is our master, and we are apprentices. If spiritual direction is like a master-apprentice relationship, what wise older master has been in your life to lead you closer to Jesus, our master, and has helped train you and guide you in the way of prayer and spiritual growth? The next image is a seeing person leading a blind person. If spiritual direction is like being led by someone who can see more clearly than you can, who has assisted you in ways where you couldn't see God or God's ways very clearly? What about spiritual direction as a shepherd leading sheep to a watering source? If spiritual direction is like a shepherd who leads us to a good watering source, who is currently leading you to drink pure mountain water to deepen your meditation with a good life? Gregory also describes spiritual direction as a school of adversity, where sufferings and pains and troubles we have are our teachers and we are the students. So if spiritual direction is like going to school, who's helped instruct you in the way of faith, helped enroll you in the school of adversity, and walked alongside you with compassion, willingly suffering with you when you are suffering? One of my favorite images that Gregory has is spiritual direction as a trail guide, walking together along a pilgrimage, including up along precipitous ways like along a cliff edge. If spiritual direction is like walking or hiking in the mountains, including perhaps on the edge of a precipice, who has helped you keep your balance, find your way along the path to God, and focused your attention on the compass of the heart? Spiritual direction can also be like a candle in a dark room or a headlamp in a dark place. If spiritual direction is like a light in darkness, who has shown God's light from a lamp of their wisdom and faith so that you were able to walk in the light and not stumble in the dark? Also, spiritual direction can be compared to a garden who is tending plants in good earth. So if spiritual direction is like being a garden of the soul, who has been a good gardener in your soul, helping you to cultivate humility and, like good soil, helping to bring forth the health of new life and growth in your soul or in the soul of others that you care about? And the 10th image that Gregory has many images, but the 10th image is a guiding a ship in a storm at sea. If spiritual direction is like sailing, who has taken the helm of your life, taken time to become a seasoned, like a captain or a helmsman on board a ship, a seasoned spiritual director, being with you in the ship of the heart, in the midst of storms you've faced, going through, as Newton describes in Amazing Grace, many dangers, toils, and snares. So there's 10 images of spiritual direction: art in an art studio, medical clinic, master apprentice, a seeing person leading a blind person, shepherd leading sheep, enrolled in a school of adversity, a trail guide leading us along a pilgrimage, a candle or a headlamp in a dark place, a gardener tending plants in good earth, or a helmsman, a captain guiding a ship through a storm. These are pictures of spiritual direction from long ago, and I hope this was helpful to you, and may the Lord lead you and guide you as you seek the Lord's guidance in your life to grow up into Him. Hope this has been helpful. Blessings upon you. Bye-bye.